How many of you have had this experience that you set a goal for yourself, feel very motivated, start taking action, and a few days or maybe a few weeks later, you start to lose all that motivation, and before you know it, you stop taking action? How many of you have had this experience of setting goals, starting on them, and then leaving them? This is a reality for a lot of people, to the extent that many people start thinking of themselves as non-finishers. So today we will talk about how do we continue to be consistent even when life gets chaotic, because life is going to get chaotic. Hi, my name is Divya Thampi. I'm a smart productivity coach and I help working women achieve their goals 5 times faster. So let's look at what we're going to talk about today. We'll talk about why consistency matters more than intensity. We will look at what really gets in the way of consistency and what are 5 secrets to staying consistent even when things get crazy. So, the first point that we want to talk about is why consistency matters more than intensity. Research shows that when two people who have different levels of talent, let's say person who's more talented and another person who's a little less talented, start out on a particular task which is related to that talent, the person who continues to stay consistent for longer periods of time is able to make much more progress in comparison to the person who may have more talent but is not consistent. As much as we like to look at people who are very successful and point at them and say that, oh, this person is so talented, in reality, a lot of consistent effort has gone into making that person a success. So, no matter whether you are a beginner, whether you've done something before or not, for example, you want to become an artist and you are an absolute beginner, it's absolutely fine. If you can stay consistent with the practice for long periods of time, you could get really good. In fact, you could turn into a professional artist and compete with some of the best in the world. Similarly, if you decided to get fit and lose some weight, if you were able to stay on track and work out on a regular basis and stick to your plan, you will be able to get fit no matter where you are in your journey right now. Now, let's also ask this question: what really gets in the way of consistency? There are two main things that get in the way of consistency. One is what people refer to as life, where things get busy and there's too much happening. But in reality, these are all superficial reasons. One of the reasons why people are not able to stay consistent with a particular practice is because it is not important to them. It is something that interests them, but in reality, it is not a priority to them. For example, when people say things like, I want to complete this course, or I want to be reading on a daily basis and all of that, and they're not able to do that, is because they haven't made that into a priority. It's a nice to have, but it is not something which is a must have for them yet. The second reason, even when something is a priority and they really want to achieve something, they're not able to make progress and they're not able to stay consistent because they get disappointed very easily. So we will talk about each of these. So let's look at what are the 5 secrets which make the successful people stand apart, the secrets that they use that you also can use. And if you did use, you would turn into a successful person yourself. So, the first thing that differentiates people who are consistent against those who are not able to stay consistent is that they plan for chaos. Okay. Most of us tend to be very optimistic. So when we start out on a particular practice, for example, if you're talking about writing on a daily basis, and we say that, okay, I'm going to write 200 words every day, I'm very optimistic about, I cut out a time, I allocate a time, and I'm very optimistic about how it is going to happen on a daily basis. I say I'm going to do it every day from, let's say, 9:30 to 10:30. I'm being quite optimistic. I'm assuming that life is going to go on the exact same way that it is going, that nothing unpredictable is going to happen. But life doesn't stay the same every day. There are emergencies that happen, there are unpredictable things that happen, there are people who pop up, there are work requests that come up, you may fall ill. There are so many things that can go wrong, right? So the best thing that you can do is to plan for the days when things will not remain the same. Plan for the days when things will crop up. Okay, and for that you can use the if then rule that James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, suggests. He says that what you can do is say that if you have planned to do exercise, for example, from 7:30 to 8:30 every morning, and on a particular date something else comes up and you're not able to stick to that time. So if this happens, then what? Then it could be that if I'm not able to do my exercise at 7:30 in the morning, then I will do at least a half an hour running practice in the evening. If I'm not able to do my singing practice for half an hour in the morning, then I will at least do 15 minutes of singing practice during my lunch break. If I'm not able to do my 500 words that I was supposed to do in one sitting, I will do 300 words in two separate sittings of 10 minutes each as and when I get a break. So I remember one particular person who got on a journey of learning to draw over a period of 6 months, and his thing was the least that I have to do every single day is that I have to, if nothing else, I have to at least draw a line on a blank sheet of paper. Okay, so that is the if then rule. What happens if it's raining? If you've decided that you're going to run on a daily basis and it starts raining, you say that on the days if it rains, then I will go to the gym and run on a treadmill. So that's one, you plan for chaos. Okay, the second thing is set an identity goal. Most people are focused on the outcome that they want, and then they create a plan for the outcome and then they start working towards the outcome. But this can sometimes not be very sustainable. Okay, because like for example, people say things like, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, you want to make a lot of money, but is that something which is actually very, very important to you? It may be, okay, but when you think of money, does it really excite you? Maybe it doesn't. Okay, so the important question to ask is, why is money important to you? The money is important to you because it can help you to probably buy things that you like to have. Maybe it will help you to buy a home, it will help you to buy conveniences and a car or whatever. But why is that important to you? It is important to you because if you were able to have that, then your family members would be happier. They would be, you would have better relationship with them. Maybe that is at the heart of you wanting to make so much of money, right? So like think about what is at the heart of what is it that, whatever it is that you want to do. But alongside that, identity goal is about connecting the goal to your identity. That is deciding the kind of person you want to become. Okay, so if I say that I want to become a fit person, now fit person is an identity, but what kind of things does a fit person do? A fit person is somebody who moves often. A fit person is somebody who works out on a regular basis. A fit person could be somebody who goes for a walk every day. Think of an activity which fits with the identity that you would like to have. So rather than just thinking about the outcome of losing weight, because what happens is, you may be moving towards your goal, taking action consistently for some time, but when something comes up, you give it up. But when you make an identity goal, you say that I want to be this kind, I want to be this kind of person who wakes up in the morning, then it's very different because you take pride in that. So let's take the example of, again, this comes from James Clear, a smoker and a non-smoker. So let's say that two people are trying to give up smoking and they go to a party and they are offered a cigarette. One person says, no thanks, but I'm trying to quit. The other person says, no thanks, I'm a non-smoker. Which is more powerful? Obviously, when the person who says I'm a non-smoker is more powerful because she has created an identity of her being a non-smoker, right? And now she takes pride in it, and there is a much higher chance of her being persistent about it. Okay, so when you say that I want to be a healthy person, it could be that it could start with you having one healthy meal every day. That's all you need to start with. If you say that you want to be a writer, it starts with you writing every day. It doesn't mean you have to have published a book. It doesn't mean you have to have, 500 articles on your blog. It just means that you are writing every day. I think of myself as a runner. Now, does that mean I run many marathons and I do ultra runs? No, I don't. Even if I run just a kilometer every day, that makes me a runner. But it also doesn't mean that I have to run every single day that I should have never missed. Even if I miss on certain days, it's just fine. It's like, presidential elections. If you have the majority of the votes, you win. Okay, so the idea is, as long as you are doing it, and even if you fall off the track, as long as it's an identity goal, you are able to get back on track because it's become part of your identity and you take pride in it. The third is dealing with disappointment. I told you before that one of the reasons why people find it difficult to stay consistent is because they, when they have done it for, like, say, 2 weeks, and after that they miss for whatever reason because they were unwell for 5 days at a stretch. Now, when they have to get back, they have to start at a level which is lower than what they were originally at. And this can be very disappointing and discouraging. And then they may think that, there is no point. Or sometimes, because you missed consistently for 3-4 days, you may label yourself as somebody who never finishes things. Okay. Now, here's something to remember when you deal with disappointment. One of the Olympic level athletes shared this in her interview. She said that just before the Rio Olympics, on her practice day, she was not able to do the things that she had set out to do. And she was starting to feel very disappointed. So her coach reminded her, he reminded her about the rule of thirds. He said that whenever somebody sets a significant goal and is on a journey to achieve those goals, 1/3 of their days will be great. 1/3 of the time, all the things that they plan will go well. They will be feeling energetic, they are encouraged, they're doing things, their practice runs are going well, all of that. 1/3 of the time, things will be okay. It's neither great nor too bad, going normal. And then 1/3 of the time, things are going to be crappy. Right? So the journey to success is not one straight line. The journey to success is like a really curvy line which goes up and down. So there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs, and that is part of the journey. When you are on ups, that's great, but that doesn't mean you're going to stay up all the time. Everything is cyclical. Even the stock market that goes up is going to come down and will go back up again, right? So remembering that even for an Olympic level performer, the rule of thirds apply. So obviously, for every one of us who's trying to get to our goal, the rule of thirds apply. The next one is tracking your habit. It's really important to track how much you have been doing on a daily basis, or whether you have been doing on a daily basis. For example, if you start a practice on the first of the month, it could be paper and pen, where for every day you tick off whether you've done that activity or not. The thing with tracking is that it provides you evidence with the kind of progress that you're making. Sometimes we may have done something for 10 days at a stretch, and then when we miss for 3 days, when we start to feel disappointed. But when we look at the tracker, we are able to remember that, oh, okay, I did it for 10 days before this. So it's okay even if I did 3. 3 is a small number in comparison to the 10 that I already did. Sometimes, it's not about missing, but when you look at your tracker, it gives you a sense of pride and it shows you how much progress you have been making, right? So tracking is a great way to motivate yourself, because nothing motivates you more than actual progress. Last but not the least is rewarding yourself. Now, a mistake a lot of people make is that as they are getting onto a new journey and trying to stay consistent, they don't think of rewarding themselves when they achieve small milestones. They're waiting to achieve the big goal to reward themselves. Don't do that. In fact, it's really important that in the initial stages, even when you reach small milestones, maybe you've done something consistently for 1 week, reward yourself, Maybe you take yourself out for a good dinner, go watch a movie or read a good book or do something that you enjoy doing. Because what this does is that your brain then starts connecting the reward to the activity. And when you do that, whenever you have to do the activity, your mind starts looking forward to it. And that's the difference, The people whom I've spoken to who are really successful practice this all the time. They reward themselves for the small achievements that they have. So make sure that you practice all the 5 things that we spoke about. Number 1, plan for chaos. Number 2, set an identity goal. Number 3, remember the rule of thirds when you start to feel disappointed or start to feel dejected. Number 4 is track your habit. And number 5 is reward yourself for every small win. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe this YouTube channel. Give us some love so that I continue to come back with more videos for you. Thank you and have a great day.